And today I have with me my youngest daughter. This is going to be what you don't understand about mental health.
They would all understand what was going on, like especially if there was family drama or something, but then everyone would have to like watch their words around me. When I'd go over to my dad's house, it would always be a lot of questions.
She did not want to get out of the car. She cried the whole time, and I kept that bag of tissues. I kept all her tears. Oh, I'm about to cry. Because all that stuff I thought I brought on it, So let's talk about the assessment.
I didn't feel like I was normal, and I didn't feel like I was on the same wavelength as all of my classmates.
After they told you that you had autism, how did you feel? I came home one day in Atlanta. She had wrote the whole Japanese alphabet on the wall. That freaked me out. She taught herself Japanese. It opened up my eyes to see how I overlooked you. Sometimes God will put you in a place that's not for you. Our other family dog, Dash, they all had to be euthanized. So Amour's next. No. Hello, and welcome back to They Just Don't Understand. And today I have with me my youngest daughter, Aujah Anderson.
Hello.
And we're going to really kind of talk about mental health. So this is going to be what you don't understand about mental health in our family or in between me and Aujah. I'll say that because there was a part of time in our lives that there was things going on and I felt like I dropped the ball because I didn't notice things. So we're going to get deep into this and come along and join the ride. Thank you for tuning in. Okay, Aujah, how was it growing up as the youngest child and you had older sibling sisters? How was that?
It felt a lot like my sisters were also my mom. So for a long time I didn't understand what sister meant, and I just assumed that I had like a bunch of moms, I guess. I was also jealous of my sisters too, because they got to spend more time with you since they were born earlier. And then I was like, what the heck, why is my mom so much older than me? I want to be like my friends whose parents will like maybe pass away when they're 40 or 50 or something, but for me, like sometimes like you just don't even know if you could make it that far. I was really jealous of them for that.
Oh,
yeah.
And she's discussed that with me as far as, being around for a long time because her sisters has gotten more attention and stuff. But what she don't understand right now is that her sisters may have been there and known me a longer time. But the thing is that they might not have had all of me. And so they had to split me with the streets, huh? What did you tell me?
That you didn't choose the streets chose you.
She told me I didn't choose the game. The game chose me. It wasn't the streets. Well, it's all the same.
Something like that.
It's all the same, but that was funny. And then she had another little cliche moment with me. She says she's like sod.
Oh yeah,
you remember?
I said you're like a tumbleweed.
Yeah, and I'm right,
school.
And I'm like a tumbleweed. So she's sod, and I'm a tumbleweed. So you know what sod does? Sod stays solid. Sod is permanent. It stays there, right? A tumbleweed, it'll blow to and fro. And when she said that, it was so prophetic because when I thought about it, in the quiet times of night, I kind of looked at that and went back to like being raised by my mom, being a single mom and all that kind of stuff and how she moved around. So a lot of stuff is in our DNA that we have to recognize and that we have to, be careful with, So tell me one of the, let's start with the good. Tell me something that good happened in your life, as you were growing up with me and your sisters. Because I know you wasn't around all of them at one time because they were so much older.
Yeah.
And one was off in the military. Another one was off filming and doing her thing. And then, who was the other one? Oh, yeah, the other one was in school. That's right.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So tell me how it was growing up like that.
I guess I did wish that I had, when I was younger, I wished that my sisters were the same age as me. Because I always felt like I was out of the loop. So, they would all understand what was going on, like, especially if there was family drama or something, but then everyone would have to, like, watch their words around me because I'm the baby. So even though we're all sisters, I'm a child to them, and I couldn't be in the know, so I wasn't part of the sisters club, I guess you could say. So I never felt like I was a sister, and I was more like a child that was being taken care of, which isn't a bad thing, because it's nice to have multiple parents, but I did want to like reach my rite of passage where someone will ask me for advice and say, hey, this has been going on, what do you think I should do? Or like, oh, don't talk to so and so right now because they're going through this. But I think I've reached that point now, which is nice.
Oh, yes. Yeah, it is, because I know some of your sisters call you. So she's talking about the sisters on my side, because she also has 2 sisters on her dad's side. Tell me how that relationship is with them.
I haven't really talked to them in a while, and
why not?
It's mostly on my part. I can call them. They've called me a few times. I just usually don't call back, but that thing is still there where I feel like I'm not really part of the family, and I don't ever know what's going on, and I hear people hush and like talking around me, but no one's ever talking to me, and I don't know what to do with that kind of stuff, so
you just stay away, basically.
Yeah. I do miss my nieces and nephews over there, though, because they were so cute.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to reach out to them.
I do.
And just at least speak to them or FaceTime them or something like that.
Just say hi.
So how, see, I'm an only child, so I don't know what it is to have sisters and brothers or any type of sibling. Any type, sisters and brothers all the time, right? So anyhow, how was it having a split family? Like, you're the baby of everybody.
I mean, I guess I just assumed that was normal.
Because that's all she knew anyway.
Yeah. And it wasn't like a bad thing, because a lot of my friends would have a really similar situation, and they'd be like, oh yeah, no, my mom lives here and my dad lives here, and I go between them or whatever. But it wasn't until I got older and I started mentioning things and noticing that people were asking me like a lot of questions about my childhood, like, how many siblings do you have? Are they all from the same father? Are they this? Are they full sisters, half sisters? And I didn't even think about that, and I had just assumed my whole life a full sister and a half sister were the same thing.
Right.
Even though I knew they were different things, like I just always thought of my sisters as full sisters because that's all I have.
I never used a half thing or the step thing.
It didn't make sense to me.
Yeah. It doesn't at all. I never liked that verbiage. So how did you feel? So I'll give you a little backdrop on this. I was married to her dad, and that was the first time I had gotten married to someone that I hadn't had any intimacy with. I was doing it the right way, get married first and then have your child and all that. So it worked out really good. I mean, what I can say about her dad is he's a good provider. He really is. I can't say anything bad about him. We went through our hard times, but, and her being in the middle sometimes of it kind of hurt me. And then, I was still kind of high and mighty in my mind, and we were going back and forth with her. And what would happen when you would come back when you had stayed the weekend with me and then go back with your dad?
Well, with you, there wouldn't be too much that I'd hear. It would just be pretty normal. I'd be like, okay, I got to get into school mode, get ready to go to school, remember to do my chores or whatever, if I even had any. But when I'd go over to my dad's house, it would always be a lot of questions like, what was going on? Who is there? Was there a man over there? Was there a woman? What was their name? Who do you remember your mom talking to on the phone? Like, all of that kind of stuff. And I had to be a little messenger, essentially, but try to figure out a way to give him answers that satisfied him without also giving, like, too much information that's like, oh, I don't know if that's his business, because, like, it sounds like he's upset. Yeah.
See, and this is a good, this is kind of heartening to me, to really talk about this and have the whole world in this, but it's very important, so I hope it helps someone. Before you get married, who am I to say, but this is just what I've been through. I didn't do any research, any background. We didn't take any medical exams to see if anybody has any type of illnesses or nothing. We just, jumped right in, basically, into the marriage. So, sometimes you got to be careful and take your time and, do a little soul searching, praying, a lot of praying. So he was a little older than I am. So when we got together, we met at UW. We're both in the trade. And so we met there, and then shortly after we got married, then after that, it was a 2-year period, then we had Aujah. And I was 42 at the time. And I said he's a little older than me, right? I'll tell you how much older, but we got a beautiful daughter out of it. That's the whole thing. That's all that matters. So now I want to ask you, Oh, what I was going to say about the parenting thing, you guys just be easy on your kids. If you guys can't get along, don't grill your kid. Don't ask them a bunch of questions. Take it to the person themselves, because it puts our kids in a vulnerable position for them to lie or to recluse, or tell me if I'm saying that word right. This is my dictionary right here.
I don't
Yeah, and you don't want to shelter them, and so I'm gonna get a little more deeper in, or how I felt like I dropped her, when we were all living in Atlanta and we were going through the divorce. So that's what I want to talk about. How did you feel when me and your dad finally did divorce?
I don't even remember if I cried about it though.
Yes, I'll tell you since you don't remember.
Yeah, no, I remember going over and picking up my Play-Doh and stuff, and you're like, this is your stuff, and we're gonna be living here from now on.
Right.
And I felt weird because I know Dad was still doing that thing where he was like, remember, your mom did this to me, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
So it definitely felt awkward just because I knew that I would be put between them, but I don't remember being too upset about it. It wasn't abnormal to me.
There was one time I remember, though, is we had to drop her off and meet at a local place, right? Yeah. And she was 8 at the time. And we were, like I said, going back and forth. And so we had got there to our meeting stop earlier. We was at the MARTA station. So we had got there earlier than I expected. So we were sitting in the car, and the whole time she was just kind of crying, telling me, I don't want to go, I don't want to go. And I'm like, I can't do anything, because that time the courts had set it up, where we had to share custody, right? And so she was doing really good for a while, but then it hit a brick wall when she was 8. She did not want to get out of the car. She cried the whole time. I gave her tissue, and I gave her a brown bag to put the tissue in. You remember that?
I remember that.
Yeah, and so she was in there. She was in the back seat just crying. I don't want to go with him, Mom. And I know how his temper can be. It's like anybody else's temper. When you feel neglected, or you feel misused, or you feel like you're being gaslighted, you get defensive. So when he pulled up, she was like, I don't want to go with you because all you do is ask me about what my mom is doing and stuff, and she was very stressed out. So what I did was, that little bag, she had her little tissue in there, and it filled the bag up. And I kept that bag of tissues. I kept all her tears. Oh, I'm about to cry. I kept all her tears because all that stuff I thought I brought on it, So anyway, while I gather myself, let's get to the next question. Yeah, because I felt like at times, we're going to get to where she was assessed. We're going to talk about some mental issues and stuff like that she's comfortable with. A lot of people have mental issues and they don't want to share them, or they don't want to, have them highlighted because what they might look like, or what somebody else might come back and throw up in their face, to make you feel even worse, and that's something that I don't want for her, don't want for myself, and I wouldn't want anybody to go through that feeling, so... Yeah, that's my Biggie. I call her Biggie. That's her nickname, because when she was really little, she would buck up against the biggest person in the room. I didn't care who you were. Aujah was coming for you, So back to the paper bag. She did go with him, and it got really ugly after that. We're going to move it a little forward and talk about a little bit more current. We'll talk about the assessment. Mm-hmm. Okay. One day I got a call, and Aujah had applied. Tell them about what you had applied for.
For the autism screening, right?
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Talk about that.
Well, when I was, I believe, 16, I had a feeling that I was probably neurodivergent. I didn't feel like I was normal, and I didn't feel like I was on the same wavelength as all of my classmates, and I was always having issues like understanding things and with my emotional regulation, and I was like, it can't just be depression and anxiety, because I already know I have that, and there's just so much extra here. And then I remember I went to my psychiatrist, she was my psychiatrist at the time, and she had said, I can tell you without a doubt I do not think you have ADHD, but I'm going to put you in a wait list to get screened for autism. She was like, I put my money on you having autism more so than ADHD, because it doesn't seem like you have issues with your focus and with getting things done in the typical sense. Mm-hmm. So then, actually 4 years pass, And I was about 20 when I did end up getting screened, so the wait list took even longer than she'd expected.
That's right, exactly.
Yeah, and
because you were 21 when they called me.
Oh, I was 21. Yeah,
you were
right.
21, and I told them that I said, well, she's 21 now, so she's probably past the age of, and they said no.
Yeah.
She can still come in, but I had to come with her. And this is where the tears may come out, or I'm not sure, but it's something. Something in me, let me see, how can I put this? I keep saying I felt like I dropped the ball because when she was younger, she would walk around and just snap her fingers like this. What other things did you used to do? And her sister used to say, Mom, there's something wrong with Aujah. She's autistic or something. And I'd be like, no, there's nothing wrong. I would actually get mad at my oldest daughter for saying that because,
she was making fun of me.
Yeah, but it was a little deeper than that. It was like, I'm not going to have a kid that's autistic. I see everybody else doing it. Okay, hooray, hooray. I'll support everybody else's autistic kid and have sympathy and empathy and all that, be sympathetic. But not me.
Yeah.
And then it was me. And I had overlooked the little signs. And that's why we're doing this, because I don't want another child to have to go through some of the things that you went through that I don't even know about, that's hidden inside, and then something could trigger that, and I just want her and us, all of us, I mean, the family include all the sisters, everybody, to be healthy. My grandkids, I don't have nieces and nephews, so, my grandkids and my daughters are all that I have. So, yeah, I'm a little tensed up about that because, okay, so what happened when we, in your mind, what happened when we came to the assessment? And then I'll tell my side of how I felt about it.
I was kind of surprised that they were so emphatically like, oh yeah, you have autism. Because they both gave each other like that look of pity in front of me. And then they looked at me and they'd said, so your diagnosis came back and you do in fact have autism. Like they had known the whole time.
And I'm going to stop right here because I was thinking, all this time when she was 16 and up, I was like, you're looking, remember me telling you? I said, you're looking for, what are you looking for a reason to have something for?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I have rose-colored lens. Not my daughter. Not my daughter.
A lot of parents always say not my kid because it's easier when it's someone else's kid support than your own.
Exactly. Because I felt like I did, not necessarily did anything wrong. I just felt bad because I wasn't more attentive. At that time I was, we moved to Atlanta when she was 5. And that was the first time I had been around that many black people. So my little, I'm not going to say what I really want to say. I was just turned up, okay? Okay. But we had left her dad in Tacoma and we had moved to Atlanta. And I was just so surprised that all the people that looked like me and all the excitement, all the music and the food and stuff yeah, I got caught up in all that. And so, but I always paid attention to my kids. I'm not saying that. It's to the small things that can be a huge thing is what I didn't pay attention to. So, okay, go ahead and continue. I just had to put that part in.
Yeah.
After they told you that you had autism, how did you feel?
I kind of felt relieved because
I knew it. Yeah, I knew it.
For a long time, I thought I was just making it up, and I was like,
I did too.
I probably do. Yeah, and then I'd say, oh no, I'm probably just doing this for attention or something, or oh, maybe I don't actually do this. But then after my diagnosis, I realized a lot more things that I do that I'd been denying myself because I was like, don't do that because it will make you look autistic, or don't do that because that is what autistic people do or something. But if it's something that comes naturally to me and it's not harming anyone and it's helping me calm down, then it's not something I should worry about.
Yeah.
And I felt much better acknowledging that side of myself, like when I got screened. I didn't feel like it was all in my head anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a good feeling, but just think about all the stress and anxiety and pain that she went through having to deal with, she's not one of the kind of girls that listen to Jay-Z and Beyonce and all that. She likes anime. She speaks Japanese fluently. I came home one day in Atlanta. She had wrote the whole Japanese alphabet on the wall. That freaked me out. She taught herself Japanese and then started taking classes later on in her life in high school. But I was like, oh my gosh, you know. And then she was so deep in anime that she didn't talk to nobody unless they were in anime.
Yeah.
But then when I saw those black hearts,
Oh yeah, from Shigokara.
oh my gosh, that scared. I said, this is demonic. I said, I said she's growing a black heart. I got so afraid.
I was so depressed. Like, I guess like it was what I was feeling at the time too. It was really symbolic because like every time they'd get like an X egg or something, it used to be the child's wishes and ambitions, and you take the wishes and ambitions and you turn it into an X egg, which like gets rid of all of their desires and all of their dreams. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's just like me when I was younger.
And I'm gonna tell you something, this girl is such a good artist. I'm gonna use some of her work and put it on t-shirts. You guys are gonna see her stuff is coming out. She's finally letting me expose her drawings.
My paintings from high school.
Yeah, she had a book that her friends could look in, and maybe my friends could look in. But what happened when I grabbed the book?
Well, I drew naked women all the time, so it was awkward. You weren't allowed to look inside of it. I don't want to get in trouble.
At that time, I probably would have had something to say.
Oh yeah, you would have had a lot to say. I can show you some of my old sketchbooks, and you'd be like, whoa.
And you know the thing about that internet is something. Okay, you guys, you're gonna have to excuse us. Sometimes Amore is she might jump up in here because she's bothering Aujah right now. Yeah, I don't know. She loves her sister.
We're born from the same womb.
We'll talk about Amore at the end and all the things that I said I wasn't gonna do with the dog and all that.
That's wild.
I had to put a little humor in here because I was getting so overly emotional. And here it comes again because I'm getting ready to talk about it. So the assessment, they said that I had to come with her. In my mind, I'm coming to support you. That assessment was for me. I sat there and I talked to that lady and I cried and I cried. I reflected back on the times that I was running around. Now, she's always had somewhere to stay. Her dad could babysit her or something. I wasn't wild like that. I was just minding my own business. I wasn't, all I wanted her to do was go to school and get good grades. The rest of the stuff I wasn't really focused on because I had just left my husband because I wasn't ex at the time. I'd get this right. Yeah. No, I just left and we were still married, and then he came down and bought us a home in Atlanta.
Oh yeah, he did.
But I still wasn't happy, so it dissolved. And in Atlanta, you have to be separated for 1 year before you can get a divorce. So we had to, yeah. During that time, well, wasn't that
really weird?
Yeah. Well, how long ago was that? About 15 years ago?
Something like that.
Yeah. So anyway, that was a situation with that. But that assessment was for me. It opened up my eyes to see how I overlooked you, and I really didn't do that intentionally. I just didn't know. And I was, there's a word I'm looking for when it's not my child. I was in denial that if it was, because sometimes I was thinking, oh, why is she doing this? And what would I say to you that would trigger you? I would say,
what's wrong with
what's
you?
What's wrong with you? It's just like, Mom,
I start crying and stuff. It didn't matter how old I was, I'd just break down.
Yeah, she didn't like me to say, what's wrong with you? And I didn't know, but that assessment, it really woke me up. And that's why we're doing this video. Because one of you guys that have subscribed had asked me to have all my daughters together, and I'm working on that because everybody, lives in a different state except, so Dantea and Monique live in Georgia.
Wait, Monique lives, she did.
Yeah, Monique lives in Atlanta.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, and Dantea is in Savannah. So Dante, I'm not giving out your address. I just told them where you live, and I'm sure you have
celebrities in the neighborhood.
I know, I know.
Can you have your autograph? Can I take a picture with you?
And so Dante has the third daughter. So Kanika being the second, she lives in Humboldt, Texas, and Aujah is the only one who lives here with me. And Amore is in our face. She might get in the camera in a minute. Yeah, but
the fifth one.
Yeah, so to sum up the assessment, it was really for me. Here she goes. It was really for me, and then I was so happy that she was happy because you had been diagnosed what you felt was wrong in the first place.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it made our lives a lot easier because I was able to communicate with her better. And we do have a really strong communicator in our family. And I'm just going to have to call you out, Dantea. Dantea, Amor.
Thank you for the. I know it's a serious moment.
Oh my gosh. So this is Amor. This is what the candles were named after. Me Amor candles. There's this little thing here. She helped me out. And that's another story for another day. But I say that to say that she's given me some tools that I use here and there, you know, when necessary. And it's helped out, you know. And then with Aujah feeling comfortable about where you're at in your life now, I'm so proud of her.
Yeah.
You know, it helps. So sometimes God will put you in a place that's not for you. You might get something out of it, but it's for you to release and move on. So now Aujah has been on her own. She worked with me when I had the child care, and she said before this, she could not stand kids.
I hated kids.
She did not like kids at all. And you know what? She turned out to be the best teacher. I mean, patient, loving, and everything. And our strongest suit is working with not only at-risk children, but so I was always working with the kids that they call troubled kids or problem children. There's a word I'm looking for.
Oh, special education?
Special education. Yeah. That's kind of old school. They done amped it up from there.
I thought they still call it special
education. Okay, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know, but you guys know what we're talking about. The special needs kid. I think that's what it is.
Oh, that's what it was?
Special needs.
I see.
Yeah, yeah. So, as we get out the front.
And it's like it changes every few years. Hey.
Oh my gosh. So, you know, that's the department I worked in the school district, and that's where I was chosen for this, and it didn't choose me because I would have never thought about doing anything like that at all. But when I got in, the classrooms and stuff, and I reached the hearts of the kids, that just blew me away.
Those kids were funny.
I know, but that blew me away. That made my heart pound so hard, and I was so protective of those kids. I didn't want nobody teasing them. I didn't want nobody acting funny, looking at, because it's not their fault.
I remember they'd make me gifts too.
Yes, I know. I know. And so I guess God moved me around because he knew I needed some education on special needs children, not knowing that I had one all the time, and I was resistant. Not my child. Mm-hmm. So, God moves you around in different places and in different ways. So you just never know. Just stay open and be empathetic. Is that the right word?
Yeah, I think so.
Something like that.
I always
have compassion. Empathy and empathetic are the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I think
basically, before Amor licks Aujah's face, she hasn't seen her in a long time. So she has. It's been about what?
She saw me like a month ago.
Oh, she's acting like it's been a year ago.
I know. I remember when I saw her for the first time in a year, and she was in shambles.
So before Aujah came over, I was going to pick her up. She's like, I'm always gonna, started talking bad about my dog. She's like, I'm always gonna pee all over. I said, no, she don't do that anymore. And she hadn't. But as soon as Aujah got here, Aujah touched her. And all of a sudden she was outside and she just started squirting. So
why are you so
you're right. You got something on her. I don't know what you're doing with my baby girl. So
it's just because she acts a fool whenever she comes over to my place.
Well, when I used to travel a lot, it wasn't that long ago, huh?
Yeah, it was like maybe a year ago or something like that, a few months ago.
So Aujah would watch Amor for me, and we had 2 other family dogs, Cisco and Kayak, that have now passed on along with our other family dog, Dash. They all had to be euthanized. Mm-hmm. So Amor's next. No.
Oh, I wouldn't be ready for that day.
Me either. We love animals, and it really helps me out. I got off track there because I lost my train of thought. Amor is Amor.
She's your emotional support animal.
She is.
Yeah.
She is. And I thank my oldest grandson for that, Deshae Frost. He bought this dog when he was with, I'm not going to say her name, but everybody can just pick up on who it was, I just talk about my family. I'm not going to talk about anybody else's family. But anyway, he bought the dog for his girlfriend. And I don't know, then they split up. And as much as Deshae moves around, a dog wasn't good for his lifestyle. So Monique brought the dog to Washington, and Mel was living here. Amare was living here at the time. And so she was, thinking about leaving him over there.
Yeah.
And Dash was there too.
Dash.
And so I was like, he's not even watching Dash. Because Dash brought a stranger to my house because he was locked out all night. Oh, you remember that?
I remember him being at the neighbor's place.
That's what I'm saying.
That was so crazy.
Yeah, he was outside all night.
I was always worried about
it. And so he went to the neighbors, and the neighbors kept him, overnight,
so
and then took him on a walk. Yeah, and Dash walked him right to my house.
He said, "This is where I live."
Yes, and I looked at the guy and said, "Where'd you get this dog from?" And he was like, "Well, he was locked out last night, and all this and that."
I'm glad they were there to get him.
Me too, and I'm glad Dash knew where he needed to be.
He's so smart.
That has been my favorite dog. I know I love Cisco and Kayak. I know, but Dash was my number one favorite. Every time I saw him, he knew I had a treat for him. Anytime I came to visit, he slept with me.
Aww.
I mean, I would take care of Dash. I would walk him. I would do everything. You know.
Saw me and you go, huh.
Yeah, but Dash loved me. He knew I had a treat for him, And so when it was time to put him down, I thought I was going to be all strong. I was in LA. I was like, we were in not LA. We were in Burbank. Well, California. We were in Burbank, and we had to go put Dash down.
Yeah.
And I was telling them guys, come on, I'll be strong for you guys. I'm going to do it. We can do it, blah, blah, blah. When they came in with that needle, I was the first one. I was the first one crying. So I said all that to say that, empathy and loving people, loving animals. If you don't love animals, don't be around them. But, I kind of, drove that train off a little bit, but I'm going to reel myself back in, and we're going to almost come to a close on this. And is there anything else you would like to say?
I miss Kayak, Cisco, and Dash. I appreciate all of them. I love them more. And if it weren't for them, I don't know if I would have become the person I am today, especially with Kayak and Cisco, because I loved them a lot, like they were my brothers. And I'm glad I got to spend
your brothers. That would be your babies.
Well, I mean, I would always joke about how they were my siblings.
Oh, because she wanted me to act like I'm a dog lover. Don't get me wrong, but she made it.
Yeah, I remember now. Because you're never gonna let your dog lay in the bed again. You're never gonna put clothes on your dog. You never ever be caught dead.
She's getting ready to have her own Instagram channel. Just stay tuned.
I could have an expose on what it's actually like to be Nina's dog. And then you get to see the caviar Amore eats.
Oh my gosh,
you caviar.
Guys. No.
See, she even knows you're talking about her right now.
Oh my gosh,
now
this
she's
is
dancing.
so funny. Yeah.
She's about to get some clothes too.
We're gonna wrap this up because this is.
Oh no, I can tell them more. I can tell them more.
Go ahead, tell them more.
What else? Amore, tell me another secret that mommy told you.
No, we're going to go back on. So basically, to sum this all up, I'm the type of person that if something is really sad and it just hurts me a little bit, I kind of not make a joke out of it, but I'll go to a happy place so I don't have to cry. And that's what you guys just witnessed, whether you know it or not. I got off track on purpose because it was getting a little sorrow, but I don't want that to stop me. So all I want to say about that is I'm so glad that it came through and you were able to find out what I didn't even know.
Me too.
And what that did for me was it made me open up more to people about mental health and take it serious, and that's what I was saying about Dantea being a strong communicator, with Aujah and Dantea and all of the girls, Monique's, entertainment, Kanika, she's an artist, an animator. So everybody's, very talented and doing things, so it's just all of us coming together with our crafts and stuff like that. And that wasn't even
Well, thank you I appreciate you being there for me and taking me seriously when I did say, I have my screening coming up. Because, you could have not shown up. You could have said, you're just making this stuff up again, like it always had been. But, you had stopped and you had said, no, if you got this appointment, that must mean it's for something. Like, you at least humored me.
Yeah.
And I really do appreciate that.
And you see what you said?
Support. Yeah, you
humored me.
Like, you gave me support.
Yeah, I always find humor in the darkest moments. I always have to flip that switch because I do not I am not going to be depressed. I'm not going to be overly anxious. You know, we all have a little anxiety in us, you know, anytime, especially when we're doing something new, we move to a new place or whatever, you know, you might not want to admit it, but you got a little bit of something in you too. You know, we're just putting ours on stage. And I'm just glad that I went too. Because I learned so much.
Yeah.
I learned so much.
It was a long session.
Yeah. And not only it being long, I learned how to treat other people. I mean, I always knew how to treat people. Don't get me wrong. It's not that. It's just that I put on clear glasses and took the rose-colored lenses off. Yeah, I'll put it like that.
You learn how to interact with like even more like a diverse set of people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I grew up in a diverse setting.
I mean, but like even more diverse. You know?
Yeah, mentally diverse.
Because you have like race, ethnicity, religion, language, and then you have ability, disability, neurodivergence, things like that. Mm-hmm. Well, all of them intersect.
So all I'm saying is, pay attention to your children and pay attention to yourself. Don't let one rock not be overturned when it comes to your children. You know, if you suspect something, do something about it. Go get them checked out. Or it could be you. You know, it might not be the kid. You know, all I'm saying is do some mental awareness, if that means, you know, seeing a therapist, if that means seeing a psychologist, whatever that means. To have a good, healthy environment, a good space, do that. You know, don't do like I did and brush it off and put blinders on. That's not my kid. La 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 la. I don't want to hear that. Don't do that, because that's what I did, and I think it had a lot to do with our relationship as she got a little older. You know, when you got a little older,
I was having issues.
Yeah. And that's what hurt me, because I could walk into her room and she would think I was gonna. We were sitting down talking one time. Yeah. And she thought I was gonna take my shoe and hit her with it. Remember?
I don't remember that time. No.
Yeah, but I didn't even have a shoe in my hand. I was just, you know. And I have another child that felt that some kind of way. And I'm like, where are these feelings coming from? I would never do anything to hurt my child or nobody else's child for that fact. Yeah. You know, it's just, I know the enemy is busy and he gets in people's minds that have a opening for him, because if the Holy Spirit's in there and that gap is closed, he can't get in. He can't get in. So it has to be something else. But another day for another topic. Yeah.
You want your baby to say bye?
Yes, she can.
Come on.
Come on.
Say bye. You're a good girl.
I appreciate you all for tuning in to They Just Don't Understand with Nina Mitchell. I forgot to tell you who I was when I started. I was so happy to have my youngest daughter here, the last daughter, here to interview.
She was the last daughter, Amore.
I didn't have her.
You didn't have Amore?
She was brought to me. You guys weren't brought to me.
No, look at her. She's leaning on you.
I don't care. I take care of her. She's kissing you though.
Thank you, Amore.
So anyway, this is it for now. You guys have a wonderful day, and we're gonna say goodbye now. This is my youngest daughter, Aujah.
Hi,
and Nina Mitchell. Nina Mitchell Anderson. We're gonna be letting you go, and we'll talk soon. Okay? Take care.